Wow, a very, very good evening to you all viewers. I trust that your Sunday has been a very blessed day. The fact that we are alive, we really want to thank God. We thank God we are celebrating life. Right, so thank you so much for joining us. My name is Floris Lyman. I have to introduce myself all the time for the benefits of those who are joining us for the first time. My name is Floris Lyman. Blogging is part of some of the things I do. Other than that, I am a mom. I'm also an assistant pastor. I'm an assistant head of learning in one of the secondary schools in London. And I do a lot of many other things. But today is just to introduce myself briefly because what we have to say is so important and I don't want us to waste so much time. But you're more than welcome on this platform. Feel free. We are streaming at the moment on Facebook. So please do share because we want this message to go across to many, especially to our brothers, our nephews, our uncles, our fathers, grandfathers in the BAME community. This is vital. So please share this. And also, if YouTube is your preferred means of social media, we are also streaming on YouTube Practical Talk with Floris Lyman. I talk about various things on this platform because I'm a minister in the marketplace. So I do minister, but I believe in living life holistically. Our health is very important. Our body was created, and the Father who created us wants us to be well. So if one part of our body is not functioning, it affects the other parts of our body. So this is the reason why we are having this program today. I just want to encourage you all to feel free to ask questions, relax, and let's listen, let's gain knowledge. Let's gain knowledge. Failure to receive knowledge is what makes us to be in fear. Knowledge is powerful. At least when you know about something, you are able, to deal with that situation. And I just, for the topic that we are going to be talking about today, these are some of the things we don't talk about. We don't talk about it, especially in our community. We need to talk about it for anybody that is going through this situation right now, this health challenge right now. I just want you to know that you are not alone. In fact, we want to celebrate you. We want to say, well done for fighting the battle. And if you are somebody that you have already reached out to others, and encourage others, we'll say, well done. So thank you very, very much. I have two very important people in our midst today. So as you can see, I'm not here by myself. I am going to introduce again. I really want to thank her. She was here with us the week before. Apologies because we didn't have the show last week, but she's here again today, Madam Tina Gebe Davis. She took us through the last session that we had on breast cancer. Wow, that was so powerful. She took us through that, and the feedback that we had was great. So we have her here again today. Obviously, we know that she's she's very well specialized in this area. So she's dealing with the women and she's also dealing with the men. Of course, she gave us a testimony of how her father went through this particular situation that we are talking about today. So again, quickly to remind us, Madam Tina Gebe Davis, OBE, she is a breast care specialist nurse. She's also a fertility clinical nurse. She was awarded specially with the Order of British Empire in the New Year's Honours list of 2016 of the Queen Elizabeth for her services to the Ebola response in Sierra Leone as head of psychosocial pillar at the National Ebola Response Center in Freetown. It's good for us to acknowledge people, because sometimes we just see people and we don't know what they are made up of. We don't know what they've done. We don't know how they have labored. We don't know how they've invested in the lives of others. So on this platform, that's one of the things that I do. I celebrate the achievement of people. So very proud, and she's one of our own, Today on this platform, we are proud to say we are all from Sierra Leone, but we welcome all the other Africans in the diaspora. We welcome the Caucasians. You're all welcome to this platform. So, Madam Davis, please say hi to our viewers once again. Thank you for giving us your time today.
Good evening, viewers. Thanks for having me again today. I'm Floris, and I hope you are listening and will join the discussion.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Madam Tina. Well, as you can see, I have a lovely gentleman also with us. As you know, for some of you who might have seen the flyer, our gentleman is a survivor of this topic that we are talking about today, dealing with prostate cancer. A gentleman, I said to someone when we were looking for somebody, I want to say thank you to Madam Davis, because when we were thinking of talking about this subject, she said to me, it will be good to have somebody from the professional aspect and also somebody who have gone through this challenge. So it strikes the balance very well. And indeed, lo and behold, there was someone we had that the two of us happened to be very, very close with, So, and his name came up. I'm like, wow, how can I forget? I know how we prayed. I know how we encouraged when he was going through, this particular challenge. And thank God he's here to tell the story. That's the whole point. He's here today to encourage as many men that you can tell your story, you can encourage others, you can enlighten others. That's the whole point. Yeah. So he's here today to perform those various duties. So our guest, like I said, he knew me when I was maybe roundabout for any time from 5 to 10 years of age. That's when he had known me. I'm sure my mother must have taught him in primary school, but we all came from Sierra Leone. He came from the south of Sierra Leone, where he attended the Boer Government Secondary School. He also happened to have attended the sixth form that I attended. So it's such a small world. And again, he went to the same university. All three of us here happened to have attended the same university. It was one of the best universities in Sierra Leone, and we are hoping that things will revive again. But then things had progressed. He relocated. Prior to that, he also was an accountant and economics research officer at the Bank of Sierra Leone. He was also a banking officer in one of the major banks. He later joined his family in United Kingdom during the war. For those of you, who might need to know the history of Sierra Leone a bit, we suffered war, but thank God we are still in the process of rebuilding, despite it happening many years ago. Anyway, when he settled in the UK, he became a team leader in the warehousing at Asda. He progressed. He progressed, and he climbed up the ladder, and he worked in Sainsbury's also for many years. At the moment, he has gone back to accounting, and he's now an accountant at the DWC Consulting, one of UK's leading accounting firm. He's also an MC. My brother loves life. He's also an MC and an inspirational speaker. He volunteers for charities, and also is a treasury for an organization of his school, OBA. He's also a farmer in cassava production. So you see, when we come together, everybody has various skills other than their profession. Anyway, we need to move forward with our topic. So I introduce Master Mustafa Faker. Say hi to our viewers.
Hello, everybody, and I hope we'll all learn from what we have to share today. And thank you very much to Lady Tina, and to you, the host as well, Batu, as I normally call you, Floris.
Thank you. Viewers, you didn't hear that, okay? Well, yeah, that's my middle pet name. Thank you so much. Well, we are going to start with this topic. As you can see, the topic is dealing with prostate cancer. So we're going to have Madam Tina from the professional aspect, and also we will have Mr. Feka, since he has survived this disease. Lady T, for the benefit of viewers, what is prostate cancer and who is likely to have it?
Well, before I get into what prostate cancer is, we need to know what a prostate is. And this is the male reproductive gland. That's, that's the energy, the powerhouse that moves the fluids and semen. So it protects the semen, ensuring that we have, nourished sperm cells. So that is what the prostate does. For some people, they call it differently depending on what the social or their ethical background or cultural background. People tend to call it differently. But I think it's normally people say balls. This is what they call it. And only men have prostate. So only men have prostate cancer. So these cells in there, as I mentioned the last time, so in general, cancer itself is when the cells are growing abnormally. So the shapes of the cells, if they're meant to be round and they're going rectangularly, these cells going in, they wouldn't fit in, that they start causing trouble. And some of them sort of grow so rapidly, but in the wrong form. And this is why you think certain people get cancer and it's very rapid because of the production of the, we'll say, cancerous cells, how fast they grow. So prostate cancer, prostate, we've just discussed what it is, I've just said. The cancer is the abnormal cells, formation from normal that forms within the prostate. And that affects the hormones that comes from the prostate, which is testosterone as well.
Okay. Again, for the benefit for the viewers and all of us, because for me this is a learning curve. I know when we were on the program 2 weeks ago, you did mention that this is an issue. We're just going to deal with it as it is. This is an issue within the BAME community, especially maybe because of stigma and shame. People don't want to talk about it, and people are even scared to go for checkup. There is adverts everywhere to say, okay, oh, men, come at this so age, come and get checked. And yet still people don't want to go because they are afraid of receiving good news. Then when people receive the news again, some people actually die. Some people go into depression. Some, even before starting the treatment or finding help or seeking what is available. And this is why we are here today. We just want to hit the nail on the head. We want to encourage our men, our brothers, husbands, uncles. And I know you boldly spoke about your dad's experience and how you helped him, supported him to deal with it, both as a family member and from the professional side. So why are we insisting on this today? What do you have to say? If there is any man out there who maybe you've received a letter to go for checkup, you've not gone, or maybe you've gone, they've given you the news, what have you got to say today?
Well, when it comes to that, we always say that unfortunately, the black ethnic minority don't have the health-seeking behavior. Because with a good health-seeking behavior, you notice something isn't right, then you go to the doctors or you discuss it. Our men don't discuss their problems. They will have signs knowing that something isn't right, but because they are so afraid. And fear kills people, not the disease itself. Because in everything you do, even from the examples I gave before, talking about diabetes, blood pressure, early diagnosis, better prognosis. So whatever it is, if it gets diagnosed early, you get a better outcome. But just to sort of take a step back to state that, with our Black African men or Afro-Caribbean men, they are more susceptible to have prostate cancer than other men. Reason being that in our race, the PSA, which is the prostate-specific antigen, is normally higher than usual. So if you notice, even younger men now, because before it used to be 66, now from 55 upwards, men are having prostate cancer very early now. Unlike before, That's why any man that thinks something isn't right, or if they think they have a strong family history, or to even just know out of curiosity because they're concerned, they could easily go to their GP. GP is a simple blood test that could be done, which is the PSA one, and from there, if all is well, they don't have to worry. And the good thing is that even the way the results are based on your race, it says even though it's higher than usual, it's normal for you. So it's not every race PSA that signifies or says that it is prostate cancer. No, I just wanted to clarify that aspect.
Okay, so I know we have our survivor here. We're going to be asking quite a few questions. But just before we go into that, what are some of the signs and symptoms that men should watch out for? Because there are various ways that we can observe our bodies. Again, so what should men look out for?
Well, again, individual differences, but mostly men find it difficult to empty their bladders properly. You see people going having urgency going to the toilet, frequently, and especially in the night, they have a lot of that problem. They have erection problem, so whilst they're fondling, trying to get sex and stuff, it's very difficult for them to have erection. And even with the erection, during ejaculation, it's very painful. And most of the discharge that comes in, it will be like bloodish. And even whilst you're urinating, there'll be blood in the urine. So these are different things that, they look at mostly. And even the flow. Most men find out through the flow. Because if you see when men were younger, the way whilst they're passing urine, where they will shoot up, that flow goes up and down. When you start having those symptoms, you can barely go up a little bit. So it's just drip, drip, drip. And people are like constantly. I know there are other reasons why some people go to the toilet frequently. Like if they're diabetic and the sugar level is not being controlled, they will go frequently. Again, I try to clarify each symptoms I sort of flag because I don't want people thinking that, well, I have prostate cancer because I'm going to the toilet frequently. So there are a lot of things that, and even if you drink, say, oh, I've been drinking lots of fluids, your body intake, it shouldn't make you go like every hour to the loo. No. So these are the sort of the things that we look for. And just to say that, especially our African men, thinking that the sort of treatment for prostate cancer affects fertility, they are so not tuned to it. They are so, I wouldn't say reluctant, but the macho kind of behavior. So I applaud Mr. Feka up here that he's here to talk to his brothers, actually to state, what the symptoms are and to encourage them to sort of have treatment. Because if he was so scared and did not want to have treatment, he won't be sitting here today talking about it. So he's a living testimony, and everybody needs to actually listen to this. And the good thing, that's what I always say, who feels it knows it. I can talk about it as a professional, but when you have a survivor, it makes so much difference. So men need to really think about, get involved in this conversation, even if they don't want to bring in any comments, keep it to themselves, but they know their symptoms. When they go to the loo, they know how they feel. And partners as well. If your partner normally, goes to the toilet just once, you notice that they're going frequently, this is something that you can ask if you have a good relationship. And the support mechanism. So those who think I'm young, I'm having these symptoms, but I'm scared because the treatment that I'll have will cause infertility. There is so much, especially in the part of the world. The UK, for instance, there is so much because they can conserve your sperm that will take up to 3 years or even more. You can still have babies because before you have your treatment that's going to affect the sperm, they would have conserved the sperm, put in a sperm bank that they can use with your partner as well. It's not a traditional way of conceiving, but you will definitely get a kid if that's what you're concerned about.
Wow. So thank you so much. Like I said, this is life saving today. So for that man out there that is worried that, oh, if I start this treatment, I can't have children and all of these things, just to let you know, as the man, like Madam Tina has said, your sperm can be preserved. Madam Tina, I remember vividly when we had the last show, you mentioned that some men actually never observed their bodies. It was their wives, maybe when they were having an intimate affair. So, women, again, thank God if you have a good woman that is observant. But again, this is a call for every woman, yeah, wives, your partners, please don't just when it comes to we have to be real here. When it comes to intimacy, whilst your hand is going up and down, please feel well. Feel
Let
well.
the hand reach
All those
there.
things you said.
Let the hand reach there to feel, because these are things that, Flourish. It's just incidental findings most of the time. You're not looking for it. But if you're accustomed to your partner's body, you'll notice you felt something unusual, and you need to raise it or observe it to see what's going on. Bring in the conversation gently, because some men, as I say, our men, in terms of health seeking behavior, it's down there, and we need to encourage them. And if you have to book that appointment for him, even if he states that, oh, he will bring all sort of excuse under the sun. Don't buy it. Take him to the doctors. Let him have the blood test. Let him be examined. If they have to do further investigation, let them get it done. But I think enough of me. I want, Mr. Feka to, as a survival, bring it, because I'll be talking book, I'll be talking theory, I'll be talking professional. But I
Yeah,
believe that people really want to hear from him, how he managed it in terms of support, and
yeah.
what he went through, basically.
Thank you so much. We needed to lay this base because we are coming now to the body. We needed to lay this base. I'm just already looking at the comments. Somebody said the men are refusing to go for the test, even though it is free. We can only encourage, because like you said, if a woman feels, then the man say, oh, it's not your business. Why are you touching? Why are you asking questions? Please, if you go and get checked, you can add more time, you can add more value to your life. You have children to live for, even you have yourself to live for. Failure to take action, is going to be detrimental. It's not a curse, but please, let's take action. Well, our gentleman has been sitting there patiently. I can imagine how he dealt with this situation. We're going to hear from him now. Mr. Master Faker, we just want to hear from you on how, first of all, how did it happen? How did you find out about it? Let's start from there.
All right. Thank you very much, host and Tina, and of course, you, the listeners, as well. This is for you, especially. Um, to get straight to the point, how did I find out? How did it happen? Right. Which is really one of my three parts in which I normally try to talk to anybody about, which is the first phase, which is the symptoms. What dragged me to go and investigate further that led to me realizing that I'm actually a prostate cancer victim. Now, the signs, to be honest with you, for me, it's just more down to curiosity. And I think I also put it down from childhood, where my parents let me understand that if I am, if I feel any funny from my normal way of life, I need to go see a doctor. So that really is what pushed me further. Now, I'll refer back to, I think, 2 years before my diagnosis of the disease. I came back from Sierra Leone, and I had this spike in temperature. I think it was close to 40 degrees I was reading, and even the doctors were shocked. So just coming back from Sierra Leone, of course, when you come from a tropical country, there's all sorts of stigma that the medical organization in the UK have about what goes on in Africa. So, of course, I went to A&E. I came straight from work on that day, and I went straight into A&E. I was there when I even called my wife to go meet me up. And they tried everything, but the temperature was still very, very high. And then after that, they had to even send me to a tropical disease center in central London somewhere. And they also tried everything, and they couldn't see anything whatsoever that was really wrong with me. They tried malaria, they tried typhoid, they tried all sort of HIV, all sort of diseases that they could associate with Africa. They couldn't find anything. And even one of the consultants there told me, said, please, at the end of the day, whatever that might happen to you, I will want to know so that I could add it to my notes that this spike in temperature is actually attributed to that as well. Anyway, long story short, that went off to normal and I came back normal. But all throughout during this period, I was experiencing some pain. As Tina was saying, trying to locate where the actual prostate itself is. For men, I will say if you just take in between your sacs and your anus in that region, in between there, that is, if you take that direction and you go straight into your body, that is where it will lie. So if I'm talking about pain here, it's normally you could feel pain slightly in your anus, because even for the initial test, which the doctor go and try to test, the first phase they do is they put the finger up, and they put their finger up because from that region as well they will know where it is. But when they do the operation, they don't do it from there. They come from top going down. So that shows you that it's actually located in a kind of a mid region within your body system that is way further down, but not extremely down, as in your anus area. But for me, I started feeling pains. But trust me, I'll tell you, the pain was just they normally ask us what's the pain level. I would say 2 to 3, which is just like any other headache you get or any other muscle that you pull when you go to the gym or something like that. So it wasn't anything that would rush me to a hospital. But me being curious, it continued for a long time. And that became worrying to me, that this is not my body. My body has never been like this over the years. So why it is now? And of course, also the frequency in using the loo. As Tina also rightly said again, when you are a small boy, we all know what we do. We normally sight the ceiling. That's what we do. Or we spot, if you go to school, those of us going to similar school will spot something somewhere up the wall, and you try to sight it. As naughty boys, we do that. But as you grow older, your muscles, your systems, and everything else, they react upon them getting old as well. So even if you're a very, very strong man, because the fact that you're now over 50, 60, you can never hit the ceiling. You will hit somewhere good if your system is okay. But then if it's combined as well with the prostate, it makes that area, your muscle around that area, it makes it weaker, because there has been some cells that have been damaged within that area. So it makes it weaker. So that's one of the main reasons why you will not be able to sight further far up again. And then, of course, your bladder will not be emptied properly. All this has well got something to do with muscles, because it's your muscles that holds your bladder, it's your muscles that releases your bladder. Now, if the muscles are not that strong, the bladder will come, it will release, but the muscles are not holding it properly that long. So when the next urine comes, because urine is something, if you take a drip, for example, the way the water drops into your blood, whatever the thing is that goes, I'm not a nurse, so don't blame me if I don't know the right thing. That thing that goes into your body, the way the drip drops, that is how the water as well from your system drops into your bladder. Okay? So as it goes in there, your muscles should be able to hold it up. That's why, as a young, strong man, you could hold your urine for an hour and you go miles and you go queue up on the toilet and you wait until it's your turn, you enter. But trust me, if you are suffering from that, you cannot hold it too long because the muscles there are not that strong to hold it at all. So it pushes you to go. So as soon as there's anything in the sac, you have to go. So hence, that's one of the major symptoms as well. In my case, that started, but it wasn't much of a problem. Now, why I'm emphasizing on this is that because when we're talking about symptoms here, it varies between different people. I did not feel much. That wasn't much of a problem that sent me to hospital, really. What really sent me to hospital was just that slight pain, which I still insist was only between 2 to 3 on the scale of 10, if we're measuring pain stress. That's one. But again, I am also conscious of my family history. Okay? Sadly, I lost my brother 5-6 years ago to another form of cancer. I lost my mom. I lost my aunties. So I know within, I lost my sister as well to that. And I've also got my sisters who suffered from similar breast cancer, who got a lot of survivors in my family, that. So it's something that we talk about and we share so that it will save any other family member who is going through anything similar to that. So we don't cover it at all in our family. We talk about it and we push everybody to make sure that they go check. So your family history is very, very important. If a family member that you share the same gene with has suffered from similar thing, please, even if it's a persistent headache, just rush and check. And whilst you're checking, let your doctor know that my family has suffered from this. Every doctor I've sat in front, I've made sure I tell them that, because I would just see my head aching. I would just see my body aching. My tummy is aching. That's what I told my doctor. But based on the type of symptoms, and if I've given them that information as well, they will try to link it and see if, why not test this? Why not test this? Because you've already given us a hint of what it could be as well. So for me, those signs are very, very important. So your family history and what is abnormal happening in your body at that time. And of course, most of the things as well, Tina and Flourish, you've hit on it. Men, especially the BAME community, which I've been trying to talk on absolutely any platform I get the opportunity to talk on. We are belligerent of going to find out what is wrong with us. Now, I will assure you that 80% of the death that happens, especially back home, because we are from Sierra Leone, so I'll know about Sierra Leone situation more. 80% of men that die from Sierra Leone, they will tell you he just fell down and died. He just had a heart attack. He just had a this. He just had a that. Now, what was happening to him before then, they will never tell you, because most of them never went to actually seek that help. Most of them never discussed it. I've also got an uncle, as recent as I went back to Freetown, who's been hiding something from me for 2 years. So was able to open up to me. Guess what? I just said, you know what? I'm not even going to listen to you again. Tomorrow you're going to hospital. I said, tomorrow you're going to hospital. Is Madam aware? Madam is not really too aware and did not tell. 2 years. Even me, you cannot tell me. I said, Uncle, you know about my story. And I've been talking to you all the time. You cannot open up to me. But guess what? He went and I just told the doctor, just test him. Just test him. It doesn't matter what he says. Just do all the necessary tests. Luckily, it wasn't prostate. But at least that got cleared. And he got sorted as well. But then he could have kept his mouth shut, continued suffering. And it's a cancer. It grows, it damages your system, and it goes into different areas as well, which is the worst part of it. Because the more you leave it, the worse it becomes. And for prostate, as Tina was saying earlier on, you, as long as you get it in time, trust me, they could even, you do your PSA, it could come out with a figure, but maybe that figure will say, you don't even need an operation. You don't even need a chemo. All you need is for us to just stabilize you with some testosterone medication or whatever it is, just to stabilize you, and you can live another 20 years without any operation or anything. But the fact remains that you were able to get it sorted in time. So the time bit is what is very, very important here. Now, I'm sitting here today and talking about this. Guess what? Just because I caught it in time. So for your question, yes, my symptoms: slight pain, high temperature, because the fever used to come and go, come and go, come and go, but the doctors could not even associate that with that illness, because they've I don't know if they've never seen it or they've not done a study that will link it with that. Because when you talk about temperature and fever, they're looking at something different: typhoid, malaria, and whatever it is. Especially if you come you just come from Africa, and then that happens. So definitely that becomes a question mark, which I'm thinking, how come that wasn't picked up at that time? But then again, even after I told them over and again about my own family history, they still couldn't pick it up at that time. I'm sure if they picked up at that time, just maybe I might not have even needed an operation or something, because there's 2 years before this happened. And then again, prostate don't just come 1 year or 2 years and that's it, you are gone. No, it takes 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, damaging slowly and slowly and slowly. So it's not a one hit killer as other cancers are. So with my experience in it, and we have read a lot around it, I really don't see the reason why men are still reluctant, why men are still finding problems in trying to go and get help for it. So I always encourage every man I meet, however small you are, however big you are. Until you're also talking about age 40 plus. Wise in my journey, I was in hospital, and this is where my wife Hannah actually felt so bad for somebody else who was a much more younger man. He was just in his early 30s. In his early 30s, you can see he maybe even just came from the gym, well muscled up, young, energetic young man, and he was going through the same journey. So yes, 40, that's the average, but trust me, you have people even younger than that now who I have seen personally, that are going through that. Now, I don't know how far his own damage was, or what was really, how far he got into his own journey, but I felt more for him as a much more younger man, because definitely, he needed more of what was being taken out from me than for him. So people, even as for me as well, I felt for him as a younger man going through that. So age-wise, I will say anything from 20-something to 30-something. As long as you got the family history, go check it. As long as you're feeling something that is not normal on your body, as you were feeling years before, this is new, go check it. So the check it is very, very important. And keeping your mouth shut, you will go. The people you're leaving behind. The last minute before I went into the theater, my head was all about my children. Who is going to take care of them? Who will be for them? Who's going to take my little girl up the aisle? So all these things run through your head, as a parent. And I don't regret it one bit. Just yesterday, me and my little girl, she had a dress and high heel shoes or whatever that we had to go for a dinner. And priceless for me. Just me and I said that we're going for dinner. I got a dress. Yes, okay. So we went to Nando's dinner. luckily that's the best restaurant she could identify for us to go. That's priceless, being there for your family. So for me, it's about knowing what is new on your body as a symptom. That's very,
Thank
very important. And your family history. And don't keep your mouth shut in telling your doctor. Your doctors are not, they don't have magic wands. And sometimes just that single word will let them push you to get the test done.
Thank you so much. Please have some water. Have some water and
Yeah.
drink. There's a few questions in there, but again, just to reiterate what Master Feka has just said, early intervention, and what Madam Tina said as well. Early intervention, will help to add many more years to your lives. Men will give, you will live to celebrate your children, and we pray this prayer that we want to live to enjoy the fruits of our labor. But some of us, how there are practical things we need to do. If you're not feeling well, go get checked. If you feel anything abnormal, go get checked. Madam Tina, there is a question. Okay, somebody said they joined in and you were explaining about the disease. Okay, how does one get in contact with this cancer? Okay, the viewer joined in late. Yeah, can you just touch on that a little bit? Because, yeah, I don't want to divert.
Basically, thank you so much for this account, because until men listen to somebody like you who've been through it with the right support. Before I get to the question about how you get in contact with prostate cancer, in relation to pain during urinating, we don't want people living this program with misconceived ideas, because you can have sexual transmitted infection, UTI, or STI, that will make you have burning sensation or pass blood whilst you're urinating. Just to clarify this, not every pain or blood that comes out is cancerous. But if that happens and you haven't got any sexually transmitted infection, you're not on any antibiotics, you need to get to your GP to get it sorted out. Secondly, in terms of Mr. Feka's temperature, this is the first time I've heard about it. And it's great that he had this, or he's got this strong family history. And he thought, yes, I need to go. Because with all the ladies around him in his family, and with, knowing what, that's the most important thing as well. People need to know their family history. You shouldn't hide it. You should be able to talk freely within the family if there's something that's going to affect the lives of everybody else or their own children. Because, as we said, genetic. These are things that were hereditary from one generation to another. Because he knows his history. He knows his family history. Reason why he went to the doctors, because he was suspicious. He knew there was something unusual, but because of his family history, I believe he thought the worst. So even when the news was sort of broken to him, he wasn't in shock because he was suspecting it. Because most people with very strong family history, that does happen. And let's just say 5 to 10% of prostate cancers are all from people with family history.
Wow.
So we need to know our family history. We need to be familiar with our bodies, same as breast cancer that we spoke about 2 weeks ago. The prostate is the man's breast. That's why he produces all the fluids and the semen, as much as the breast produces the breast milk. So it's similarly, just that with different people on how. Although we always say there's this 1% of men that get breast cancer, unfortunately, or fortunately, women, we can't have prostate cancer because we don't have a prostate. But these are just, if you take into account what happens to a woman's breast, it's similarly what happens to a man's prostate. Although, with the urine thing and the narrowing, which is different, but burning sensations and stuff like that, it does happen. Now, coming back to the question about how does somebody come in contact with prostate cancer? Now, prostate cancer is not contagious. It's not like COVID that you come in contact with. It's not like, say, even STI, if you have unprotected sex. So it's not like HIV or hepatitis or something that because you have unprotected sex, oh yes, this woman had cancer, she's giving it to me. No, it doesn't happen like that.
So,
Some people have,
Madam Tina, thank you so much because I just want to let our women know, wives, so don't start depriving your husband though. If the man can, if the man is thirsting and yearning for that intimacy, because that's part of a man, it keeps them going. You might worry anyhow you want to worry, but please, unless the man says, I
well,
can't at this time. So you need to hinge on that, please.
well, Florence, when it comes to that, but these are the practicalities because sexual life is very important. And when it comes to this, because of the say problem with erection and pain in ejaculation and stuff like that, most men at that state, that's the last thing on their minds. Fear of the pain. Can you imagine when we say, oh, if only men had to have babies, have to go through labor? Can you imagine? Because just a headache, there will, so that little pain, or some people get more pain. When you look at the pain score, he says his pain score was, say, 2 out of 10, 2. Probably because he's got a very strong pain threshold. There are certain people that will just flip and run to the hospital. So men with prostate problem, sex is the least of their worries. And at times, the women as well feel guilty because they will have the urge, but knowing fully that the man will have the urge, but he won't get there. Even if he gets there, it'll be very uncomfortable and painful for him. So you feel for your partner. So most of the time, the sexual life goes down the drain. But this is where counseling is very important, and even communication amongst the couple is very important. Because when you know what the person is going through, where there is a good relationship, you support them. There are times they might not even want to talk about it because Afro-Caribbean men, the minute they lose their manhood, they think it's the end of it. That's the last thing they want to think about because they think that's the only thing that makes them men. That's where they have the power, some of them. So these are the sort of things. It's not the end of the world. It depends when you have it. That's what I mentioned. Even the young man that Mr. Feka mentioned about in hospital, if he was so inclined, they would do, he could do a sperm production that could keep in a sperm bank. And when he's ready, he can have babies. And because he's young, he might, the muscles, he might go back in and he might, after everything, get good erection. I had a situation wherein I had a couple that were going through fertility, but the guy had prostate cancer. He was 45. He was going, so they were concerned. Came to my clinic concerned what to do because they do know that the treatment does cause infertility. So the option of him producing his sperm, keeping it in the bank, and as long as the woman, haven't got any fertility problems or something that would sort of impede her chances of conceiving, they could still use that sperm. I know it's not in our culture about surrogacy and stuff like that, but these are the situations where in some people, again, people might feel cheated. That will be the man's sperm, but it's got nothing to do with a woman. Then you have somebody who's a surrogate that will have that. But even at that, they got so many, they can even do egg collection, how they can get those eggs and implant. So there are so many ways, because this is what our African or Afro-Caribbean people are concerned about. Because culturally, people think without a kid, that'll be a problem. If you decide not to have a kid by choice, then that's fine. But if you're so inclined, do not put your treatment on hold. Reason I'm insisting on this, we are in a very opportune environment. In the UK, you can do your PSA, you can be invited by the GP if you're a certain age to go do the checks. Unfortunately for people in Africa or any, say, third world country with low economy, people don't have these opportunities. Because as we say, people rather take care of their families instead of, going for treatment. It doesn't come cheap. You really need to know what's even wrong with you in the first place. And even some places, when you have the funding, you have the money, there is no services for it. They have to go to another country, which is an additional burden. So for guys here, if you think there is anything wrong with you, any change you feel, And changes doesn't mean it's prostate cancer, but please go get it checked out. Early
Thank
detection
you.
saves lives.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Madam T. Mr. Feka, you just hold on. We're coming with more questions. Madam T, I think what you said just serves as a response to Madam Umukaba's she asked a question, but I think what you've just said just answers that perfectly. What advice will you give to those living in Africa? Obviously, we know things are not there as it is here. Lady Teresa also spoke about that when Mr. Feka was talking about even the family history, how doctors can keep records. We know the infrastructure is a bit down, but one major thing is people actually putting that money when they spending it on themselves when it comes to looking after their health. So I think what you just mentioned now just fits in, like you said the last time when we were dealing with the women. Please, if you have to borrow or whatever you have to do to spend that money, to for you to be well, then do it, because that's the thing in Africa. Somebody have to pay somebody's school fees. How can they spend the money to get help? Yeah, any other thing you want to add to that, Madam T?
Oh, well, as I said, we are in a very opportune, privileged environment that all of these services are there. We just need to go. Some of us, even when we are being invited to, we don't. And I come back to, because we always need to, we use this platform to actually discuss ongoing issues. It's like the COVID vaccine. We do know our people, Africa, we are not accepting. We get the invitation, but we don't accept it because we think people, well, even when you have the vaccine, you can get COVID. Yes, you can get COVID, but your chances of survival are greater. Your chances of not going to hospital with COVID are greater. So vaccination doesn't mean you won't have it, but it does improve your chances of survival. Same as who have vaccines. We talked about the HPV vaccine, which we'll come to that for cervical cancer. Even with prostate, there's so much we can do. Because our health is in our hands. And even if your GP says no, I don't think that, as Mr. Feka mentioned, if you have a very strong family history, that's the first thing. Anywhere you go, whilst you're doing your clacking, they always ask that. Because they need to ensure that if you're at risk, you get the services ASAP, because there is no chance to wait. Cancer doesn't wait. If it's going to come, it's going to come. Some people are just unfortunate. They have no family history. They don't smoke. They don't drink. It's just sheer bad luck. Yes, we talk about lifestyle, the diet, exercise, all of this stuff. People say, oh, well, what should I do not to have, prostate? We can tell you about things that you can do to keep you healthy. So just in case you have the disease, your body can fight it and you come out stronger. Because if your system is weak and you have something like that, the treatment itself affects your good cells. So it's all healthy living. But there is nothing, it's not saying stop eating red meat, stop eating this. It reduces your chances, but it doesn't stop it.
So it's all about just balancing with with different things here and here. Master Feka, we are coming to you today. We are here because we believe many. Lady Jennifer says, "Thank you, Jennifer and Thomas. Thank you very much for your life. They're thanking God for your life that you are here." And you've been given the opportunity to save many other lives, husbands, brothers, uncles, women that have any male figure, maybe even if it's a male figure at work, you might have been hearing them complaining. Give them that little push. Go get checked up. If they say it is nothing, that's fine. I was sharing my story with Madam T that I was sent at a young age to go do mammogram, and I'm not rich up there. And when the machine was pressing me, it was so painful. They finally came back and said, okay, we thought there was something, but later on they say there was nothing. So what we are saying, go get checked. And Madam T has mentioned the support, that we can have from family members, support from professionals. And Mr. Feka also spoke about how he communicated with his family. Now, with us BAME community, some people, their family members don't know a clue about them because of some of the mindsets that we have. Say, if they know that I have this disease, they're just going to take me to the witch doctor. They're just going to kill me now completely so they can fight for my property and stuff. Somebody was asking a question: how can we, remove this fear from family members? How can family members overcome the fear of seeking medical attention? Lady T, please answer this question, then we can go back to Master Feka.
Well, I think Mr. Feka is a testimony of how, because he was open, they have open communication. Well, even if it's not your family, if you have a good friend, or go to your GP, practice nurses. Whilst you're out there, whatever you discuss is confidential. So if you feel there is something wrong, okay, hiding it from your family is one thing, but please don't hide it from the health professionals. Go and get checked out. And one thing is that patient confidentiality is tough. Nobody will tell anyone if you don't ask them to. I'm sorry. Nobody will tell anyone if you don't ask them to. So confidentiality, we have family, we have communities, strong communities. If you're a Christian, there are Christian communities. If you're a Muslim, there are Muslim communities. There is youth community, different stuff. That's what there's so much opportunities and facilities out here to support our well-being. And again, I always go back to Sierra Leone. If we see the number of people suffering, not because of lack of knowledge, some of them, yes, but resources. And that's why this is September. October is Breast Cancer Month, wherein we try to raise funds, raise awareness. And October is Prostate Cancer Month. So it's just after. So how we can actually use this platform or other platforms to come together to raise awareness, even if we can raise funds. Fortunately, we're all from Sierra Leone here. We might have other guests that are from different countries. If we got to a point that how we coordinate things, that this year we support one country, next year we support that. Because I'm affiliated with the Well Women Clinic, and we do a lot of support for breast cancer. Even in terms of prostate cancer, we have doctors there. We can do, all wellness. Your PSA can be referred, they will refer you to do your PSA. You come back, and we liaise very well with other professionals, because that will be an entry point. But then there are other areas, and there's a lot we can do, not necessarily financial. What we are doing right now is a huge sensitization to support our communities. Some people have funding, some people have money, they can spend money. Some people have linkages, they have networks. Some people have supplies. How we can support people outside of here who cannot afford it. And I'm always advocating for that, because there is a reputable entry point in Sierra Leone, which is a Well Women Clinic, where there is a lot we can do to actually support our people back home. And when we have other guests who are sort of interested in doing so, I'm sure they'll have another reputable. If people are supporting, they want to see where the monies are going, and they want to see good result and outcome. So it's just every platform we try to sort of do a lot of awareness raising.
Thank you so much. I believe we have other platforms right now here, and I'm sure Master Feka will be happy to give his time. Like I say, I'm a leader in the spiritual, in the Christian sector, and I will be more than happy to have you have conversation with men in my church, because again, we are dealing with all aspects. We're dealing with family members, we are dealing with faith, because that's where some of the problem is. We want to pray. Sometimes we are praying about something you don't even know. At least know about something, and you can pray adequately about it. We're gonna go to some questions, Master Feka. The questions is between yourself and Madam T. I just wanted to ask Master Feka, how did you feel when they gave you your diagnosis? I know you said you've spoken with your family members and whatever. Psychologically, how did you feel? What were your thoughts before you braced yourself up to say, I'm going to stand for this, and yes, give us briefly.
Well, That's a whole different ball game, because that is where kind of like the curtain is drawn on your face. You know, initially you'll be talking about you going through your process, and and the beauty about our professionals is, apart from the confidentiality, they try to break down everything to you. But whilst breaking it down, they also make sure that you are aware of the worst scenarios, just so that you'll not be surprised at the end of the day. Now, is it a good thing? Sometimes it becomes very, very worrying for some people, and sometimes it calms some people down when they tell you about the worst scenarios, in giving you the news of how it will go, be it the operation or whatever it is. Now, in my case, of course, after you do you first have to do your biopsy, which is taking snipping a piece of a tissue of your prostate itself. Initially, before, they just used to get just one single snip. But I think with advancement in technology or medications as well, they've now, what now they try to do, they get like three different snips of you. So, it's much more painful, yes, but they kind of like narrow down where exactly the damage is caused. Because what they do is they go, I think it's left, right, center, or something like that. They will snip in between. And on top of all the x-rays and everything that they'll be seeing, but most of these x-rays do not actually show how much damage is actually caused and how far the damage is. So they know there'll be a damage. And because of improvements as well in technology, before they just used to go and they take off everything, and they think that's it. But now they realize that we don't need to damage this person more than what they actually should be, the damage has caused to them, if you get what I mean. I mean, if they say in this part, that's your prostate, and only this little bit part is where the damage is, they're not going to go take everything off. They will only be able to take off that little piece, because why, in taking everything off, they will be also damaging the nerves that actually connect your blood into your manhood, which is responsible for erection. Now, I'll also come to that later on, because there's also a study going on, of which I was one of the people who they had to put in for that test, as in trying to, it's a nerve saving kind of new thing that the clinic is doing. And in that case, they put certain people in a test. I was one of the, initially they only wanted 50, so only 50 of us initially agreed, but as they campaigned it, they realized that more people were going for it, and they preferred people who were, between the ages of 35 and 55 to go for it, because then they could save everything on you. Even if they take the entire prostate out, they could still save your entire manhood, and your curing will be so rapid. You'll get back to normal life as if nothing ever happened. Now, in the giving of the news itself, they also had people who were, they're specialized nurses. The consultants, I'll tell you, they are very raw. I'll use the word raw, but that's the job. They have to tell you as it is.
Yeah.
And you have to face that. And when they tell you that news that day, and it's also down that Tina mentioned it in the beginning, as well in the introduction of what prostate is. They give you this, it's called a Gleason a scale, wherein it's a 4-3 or 4-7 or 7/3 or whatever. That means that's how much damage is caused and how much is spread, or something like that anyway. Or how much of the disease you have, if it's beyond repair, or it might not even need any operation or anything. So mine was, I think it was 3/4 or something like that anyway, but it was on the lower side, because you've also got a 4/3 or 3/4 that's on the higher side, but mine was luckily on the lower side. So they gave me the news, and before ever they give you the news, they've also given you a lot of literature to read on, and you go on the internet as well. There's loads and loads of information. YouTube can teach you so much. Google, any platform you go, and you've also got medical platforms as well. They can teach you so much, and there's literatures as well in it that you can learn from. So if they've diagnosed you or you are in that process, my suggestion is start reading, because that will allay your fears as to, we're getting ready for for the news. So if it comes out that yes, you have it, but what level it is. So because I read a lot, I was able to know what level it was at that point when they gave me the news. Now, I call it curtain being drawn down, because yes, you just be thinking, oh, maybe I have, maybe I don't. But when the consultant actually tells you that, yes, you have, I mean, it's completely different, because you go through all sorts of tests, scans, bone scan, all sorts of scans. I tell you, you go through everything. They inject you with this liquid that glows in your body, and they scan you as well, just to see how far it's spread, in your system. All these things happen to you. And so when they finally give you the result, there's not much more they could do. This is it. So when I had it at that moment, of course, I was like a wreck. Luckily, I took Hannah with me, and she was a big pillar. But what I did not do, because at that point in time as well, I also had a niece that was going through similar thing, but breast cancer. So my family was dealing with that. So I did not kind of let my family know, have that double trouble with them, because I knew I could manage mine. So my sisters, yes, we all talk about it. And that was now in the topic in my family. Everybody was trying to pray daily for them. So I did not actually even to my wife, I did not tell her in the initial hospital going. I was going to hospital, but she was just wondering, what is he going to do in hospital anyway? How come you went to hospital and I don't even know what is it? Until finally I was able to gradually open up to her, because I know how she get worried as well.
So you played the African mentality a bit there.
Yeah, but my own African mentality, I was still dealing with it. I did not just keep my mouth shut and sat down and not do anything. So I was still going about dealing with it as I would have, but just making sure that my people are not too worried. So I got the message, devastated as I could be, and broke down. And this nurse just came, took us at the back room. I think she was a Ghanaian woman by the accent. And she's one of the most pleasant people I've ever met in my life. And she actually, puts me down and said, look here, mister, I know you've read about this. This is not a death sentence. It just means this is what you're going to go through. Now, there I sat down, the doctor telling me, well, go think about it, and what you want to do. We can do operation, we can do chemo. I said, you know what, doctor? I don't have second thoughts. I've got one thought, just take it out. I'm not even going to beat around the bush about it. I've made my decision today, take it out. And guess what? That timely decision as well. My operation happened, well, I was due operation in February. And I insisted, no, I needed it out. I got told the news in November. I said, no, I want it out. And I stressed. And guess what? They took it out in December. The February I was scheduled is when COVID came in and all hospitals were locked in all those other areas. So it was just good that I insisted as well that I want it done immediately. I want it dealt with. But yes, when the news comes, it's shocking. When the how you deal with it afterwards is what really matters then. But also, Tina answered the last question to Tina. You know, if I could just slightly rub on that as well. One of the issues that we have in the BAME community, men especially, in reporting things is that, and I'm also very, very happy on this platform that you, Floris, as a minister of God, actually championing a medical program. Because for me, in my experience, the three things I've learned that is a problem that men do not come forward for is one is ignorance, which is a major issue, especially for our people here that think that will never happen to them because they're strong, they're fit, they've been eating cassava leaf all throughout their lives. They think nothing will happen to them. So that ignorance is there. Two, I will say it now. I went to church today. Don't get me wrong, but religion. Religion is another big problem. You say to somebody, go test for this. They will wrap around their finger around their head and tell you it doesn't happen to
The
them.
blood of Jesus.
I'm covered by the blood of Jesus. And this is happening even with this COVID now that we're going through. A lot of people are ignorant about it and they still covered by the blood of Jesus. But we can see the pastors of repute dying from it. We can see them dying. That's why I say I'm very, very happy that you are actually championing this in letting people know that yes, you believe, you have your faith and everything, but also go get your check done. Go see the professional in that area. You are there to lift them up spiritually, but you are not there to sort them out medically. You could help them pray in their journey. You could help them pray, have faith, give them hope and everything, but not sort their problem out. And of course, last but not the least is the myths around it, because that is linked as well slightly to the ignorance, but the myths is a whole different ballgame altogether. Anybody I tell I've gone through this, they say, oh, so which means nothing is better now, is it? I said, look at me. You don't even know how happy my family is. You understand? When it comes to that side of things. Because medication or medicine has improved so much that, trust me, I'm not lacking anything. Sitting here today, just not even 2 years in my operation.
Wow.
I'm drinking my Guinness, sorry to say it here. I'm drinking my Guinness as I want to. I'm going out as I want to. Madam is happy as she's supposed to. So technology has gone so far. Medication has gone so far that as long as it's cutting time, there's nothing, absolutely nothing like what our people used to think about that disease. There's so much money invested in that area because we know men kill themselves because of that. Men have mental problems because of that. I get contacted from the hospital if I need any mental counseling or anything like that. Well, why do I need mental counseling? Maybe if I wasn't married, I'll say, yes, I need mental counseling from a beautiful nurse. But apart from that, I mean, I don't need any mental counseling. I'm happy my wife is happy. On that side, I thank God. You understand? So that myth is what as well is damaging our people so much. It's damaging our people so much. And that myth, they need to take it off. That is 20 years ago myth. Even the people now who are dealing with it, there's a whole section that just deals with you and they make sure that you are back to even sometimes even better than you were before. So there's a whole section just dealing with that. So I want my men out there to just get their hearts and souls down. Go get checked, go get sorted. As long as it's cutting time, you got absolutely nothing to worry about, absolutely nothing to lose. Yes, people would not even believe, because the way I'm saying it and the way my life is going and everything, not until now I tell people. They don't even believe. I'm back doing my MC job. I had one 2 weeks ago. I'm back doing my work. I'm back doing my runs. I go to salon. I climb up Leicester Peak with sportsmen, actual sportsmen. I climb up the peak with them. I mean, so I'm doing absolutely everything as I always used to do before. The only thing is maybe the age is making me
You're
tired about
getting
the
fresher.
age normally. But apart from that, I am as fit. I'm registered in the gym. I do everything I'm supposed to do.
Thank you.
So the myth, the ignorance, and some aspects of religion as well, that people will think that they shouldn't go for checkup because they're covered. I think they're covered with the wrong thing, because even the Lord, I'm sure, gives strength to medication for it to work.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, and Lady Tina. Thank you so much. We are on here, viewers. We are dealing with this once and for all, because these people are professionals in their various aspects of life. So I don't know when I'm going to have them back. But Lady Tina, you and I, we are hooked on this, so because fertility, we are coming back, please. We are coming on fertility. We are coming on ovarian and all the stuff. So don't worry, we'll talk about that. But I'm passionate about these things, like you said. I can't fool people, because I know what we do. We pray. I pray for myself when I'm ill, but I pray as well when I go to the doctors. Lord, I pray for a good team. Give the doctors the wisdom. He's the one that has given the professionals the wisdom. We are all. My profession is in learning, education. It's not in medical. So if I don't know anything, I will not deceive somebody to say don't go. Even the Lord wishes he wishes everybody well, because he knows that somebody is going to have a sickness that they're going to deal with, and they're going to go through the procedures to get well. Prayer is one of the procedures. Seeking support, like you done. Well done. One thing I know, you never isolated yourself, because again, when we isolate ourselves, does not help the situation at all. Please, we are appealing to every man out there, or maybe we use this as a point of contact as well for anybody that is going through any situation. I don't care if people have disappointed you before, or if people spoke about your situation before. There will be somebody. Please talk about it. If you don't want to talk to the professional. Talk about it. Go out, exercise, do the things that you like, because you need to look after yourself mentally, physically, to be able to undergo the treatment alone. You need to be strong mentally and physically. Let me read some comments, and there's also some questions. And Lady T, there are some questions for you, so please, thank you. Lady Teresa said her dad was diagnosed, and I'm sure her dad is much more older. Her dad was diagnosed, but he's still undergoing treatment. Obviously, thank God, again, we are talking about, being in overseas, which is why we are encouraging men. If you're in this part of the world, you have the privilege and the opportunity to get checked so that it can be dealt with. And she also did say, um, they didn't know what was going on when everything started, and also because of his age, they didn't say exactly. Just like you said, Madam Tina, for some people, sometimes it's hard. Again, even Master Feka said that they did all manners of checks at some point, and they didn't know exactly what was happening. So again, checking, early intervention is very important. There is a question here as well. Madam T, Mr. Feka, everybody is saying thank you for sharing your story and for encouraging men out there. It really takes boldness to come with your story. And I can't stress this enough. There is power in sharing. What is your story? For many of us, we are listening here, we have stories that can deliver many other people. Again, I have to apply my spiritual aspect. There is power in sharing your story. One person is waiting for your story. one person is going to benefit from that story. So whatever your story is that you've come out from, you're on the other side, please don't keep it. Share unto others. Somebody said, some people think that just talking about it will make it happen. That superstition, which you touched about that as well. Somebody said, God is not against going to see the doctors or taking medications. No, because again, everybody's faith level is different. So if you want to take your medication and be praying, you know, it's up to you, but don't take it and feel guilty. He's the one that giveth wisdom to the doctors, to the researchers to produce. Right? Somebody said the church should encourage their congregation to go for regular checkups, not to discourage the congregation from doing so. I'm just so happy that we are very blatant here today, because there are some things that as a body of Christ we don't talk about. Same things like stigma. We have to talk about those things. Somebody said, so true, we need to read. We judge everything to be spiritual, no checkups. Like Master Feka said, read. We are talking about this now. We don't know. We are not wishing anything on anybody, but things do happen. I lost my husband to bowel cancer. That's another issue that is faced by men in our community, well, in communities at large. And I know we'll talk about that at some point. My husband was freshly looking and everything. He never fell ill, not knowing that disease was lurking around in his body. We'll leave that for another time. But please, if you're feeling anything, go to the hospital. I used to laugh at my husband that they're going to strike him off the GP list because he was never ill. And for those amount of years I was with him, he's never been ill, but you just don't know. Go for regular checkups. In this part of the world, 6 months, Madam T, correct me if I'm wrong. It used to be regular than that, but because of changes now in the NHS, now at least 6 months, I think they've reduced it to a year. But if they see that you have a prevailing health challenge, they will send you regularly. When you do the check, things will come up. If there is something inside your body, it will be dealt with easily. So there is a question here, Madam T, for you. Thank you so much for the contributions. Thank you. From Advocacy for Mental Health and Human Rights. That's from Lady Kona. She says, what's the relationship between frequent ejaculation and the risk of prostate cancer? I think you've touched on that before, maybe she wasn't, but just briefly, if you can, what's the relationship? Because I know you've mentioned earlier on that even though some of the symptoms are there, does not necessarily mean that that's what somebody might have. But however, if you're not sure, please go and get checked. Over to you, Madam T.
Thank you. So is my mic on? Thank you so much, Madam Kona, for your question. It's like when people normally say they should be breastfeeding. Men should be sucking the breast of women regularly so they wouldn't have breast cancer. Now, if you're ejaculate, like emptying the sac, it reduces your chances of getting prostate cancer, but it doesn't prevent it. Like when they talk about people breastfeeding, because I always relate the breast to the prostate. So regular ejaculation, if you are that active as a man and you have a regular sexual partner, because it doesn't mean that because you have to ejaculate, you're going to be all over the place, sowing your seeds or just basically going on with your activity. So ejaculation does help to reduce your risks, but it doesn't stop it. And Mr. Feka mentioned about, my wife is happy on that side. Now, it's past 8 o'clock our time? This is adult conversation. We're talking about prostate here. We have to be clear, right? Because people think that it causes impotency. They cannot get it up, so they won't even go for it. But as he clearly stated, it's not like when they used to do a radical prostatectomy and that kind of thing. Now, as he's mentioned, he said SNPs. The SNPs that he mentioned, these are biopsies. Biopsies are being taken at different angles to see how widely spread the diseases. Because they'll have a look at different levels, areas, and having clear merging. So they don't just look at the sample, the fringes, the edges of that sample to ensure that it's clear. So if they're going to do any radiation to that area, they know exactly the area of treatment they're going to do. And he mentioned the fluids that they put in. That's a CT scan. CT with dye. That's the dye they put in to actually go in and see. Or they normally even do an MRI. These are all diagnostic tools being used to diagnose prostate cancer and all other cancers or sort of abnormalities in the body. He mentioned about reading a lot. Now, you are somebody that's educated, enlightened, so you had the urge to read. Most people or some people are not that literate. They can read, but how much can they grasp? So we don't want to narrow this to only educated people. There are people, if you don't understand, ask questions. That's why the professionals are there to break it down. That's why they have even the community. People within the community who can speak the language. That's why we even have interpreters, just in case you don't speak English. You have an interpreter of your language to actually explain, what you're going through, what the chances are, what the treatment is, what your diagnosis are, what you're supposed to be doing. So somebody can say, well, I can't read, that kind of medical stuff, it won't go down with me. You don't have to read, but you need to ask the right questions. Basically, it's about out of fear. So whatever you're afraid of, ask these questions and you get your answers. So it's, as I said, we are in a privileged society. You even have people who come in to translate if you don't understand. If you speak your local language, most of this information are written. This information is there. It's written in other local languages. Obviously not ours, because I don't want us to narrow this conversation to Sierra Leone, despite us all being Sierra Leoneans on this panel. This is something that affects a lot of Afro-Caribbean men, and it does affect other ethnic minorities. And if there's anyone on the platform watching, so there's so much. Most people, their children are educated, but they aren't, because of the time they came into the country. They couldn't speak proper English. They can't go into adult education, but their kids are there. Talk to them. I always use, when it comes to prostate, my experience with my dad. Went to the professor, because then I was a specialist in fertility. So went there. I knew that they're my work colleagues. So the professor said, sir, we're going to start you with treatment, because basically all what Mr. Feka mentioned, the biopsies, I was there with him when he went to do the biopsies, everything, I was with him. So that even gave him encouragement at his age, over 70, because I was there with him as a professional and a family support. And my mom was around here as well. All this happened in the UK. I sat them down, I sat my mom down, explained to her that this is what dad's going through. This is how you can support him. You don't have to cry, because you're supposed to be her, how would I put it? His shoulder to cry on. This support mechanism, if you start crying, and having prostate cancer doesn't mean death. You can die with prostate cancer, but not of it. As Mr. Feka stated, that it grows, as long as it's not a rapid or aggressive one, over years. So you can have prostate cancer for 20 years or whatever it is. They're giving you your medication to maintain that PSA, but you just have a heart attack today, boom, you're gone. So you die with prostate, but not of prostate. So these are the sort of things that the education, the conversation that we're meant to be having with people, so that they could understand that, prostate is the most easy form of cancer to treat, or at least to manage. So our men, our brothers out there, please, and our sisters too, you can't get into your brother's business, but then if you can talk to the wife or the partner, but then you can get into your partner's business. If he's taking so long in the toilet, if you sit in the living room and you keep hearing that drip, drip, drop, drop, as if a tap that's not properly locked, something isn't right. He's struggling to pee. If he's avoiding to have any sexual intercourse, try to figure out why. Support him. So relationship, we get to a point that it's not all about sex. It's about companionship. It's about sharing, and sharing is not just wealth. It's sharing, your experiences. People get married for better or for worse, in sickness and in health. So you need to have that companion you can talk to. Otherwise, get a good friend that you can talk to that will support you. As I mentioned before, that's exactly what Mr. Feka did. He didn't just speak to his wife about it, he linked to the professionals. So if you can't speak to your wife, don't hide it from the professionals. Speak to them. You get that courage. You know that, okay, now I'm strong enough. Because the last thing you want is for a man to break down in front of the wife, especially in our culture. Crying is like not knowing what to do. But after they have sought themselves, they've accepted it, then now they are able to tell somebody. So everyone, basically, it's a process. It's just like grieving. You can grieve for a body part, the
Yeah.
shock, despite having the strong family history. So these are the sort of things that after you've dealt with it personally, because then our society, we can be quite intrusive. The minute they know everybody, hey, Usher, or whatever it is, oh, we're so sorry, oh, how are you going to do what? They start getting into your business, and you don't want that. So deal with it as an individual. You know that, okay, I'm ready to speak to somebody. I know
Yeah.
my partner is understanding. I know my partner can support me. Again, as we said, it depends on the relationship you have. But even if you cannot talk to a family, your partner, your mother, or a friend, please talk to the health professionals. There's so much support out there. They can support you go through the process.
Wow. Thank you so much, Madam Tina. Talk, talk, talk. Master Feka said, check, check, check. Speak, speak, speak. Seek for support. Seek for support. Seek. And you talked about emotion. You know what? Break down if you want to break down as a man. That does not lose your manhood. That does not lose your authority. We are human beings, and times will come when our emotions will be all over the place. Yeah, just like she said, you mourn the loss of a loved one, you cry. So go through that process. Then after that, like they say in our pidgin language, you need to tie your oja. It means brace yourself up to deal with the situation. Madam Tina, Master Dave Chiriwo said, what are the possible predispositions?
Well, possible predispositions. Predispositions in what way? What exactly does he want to know? What would be what side effects of the treatment, or what are
Okay,
the signs and
maybe.
symptoms? What exactly is
Yeah,
that
well,
person
can you
asking
just,
what he
because he
wants to
did
know?
not specify, so can you just touch briefly? Um, yeah, he has not specified.
So touch briefly on what? Because I need to be specific.
Yeah. Okay, Master Dave, if you're still there, can you still be specific? I think we will move on for now. Well, Lady Jen said, congratulations. Basically, everybody is thanking you guys. Thank you very much. I think we have covered a lot, Masafeka. I just thank God for your testimony, and we pray for many, many more years to come. And we use you as a point of contact, you know, for many other men. We thank God for the research that is being improved as well. We thank God for the improvement in medication. In those days, people were taking medication, they can't go to work, they can't do anything. But now people are living, almost as normal. Like you said, they'll be going through treatment and stuff. So we thank God for, again, countries like this. Also, we continue to pray for where we have originated from. We pray for Africa, we pray for the infrastructures to be improved. We pray that more attention will be paid to wellness. Madam Tina is has been very active in organizing awareness programs in Sierra Leone. So even as we are talking about Africa, there is not much support. Things have changed as well. I think people that are professionals, and I want to say well done to every professional who has gone out there to actually impact the lives of people in their communities, even up to villages. So things are happening. It's not like before. A lot of professionals, nursing professionals, medical professionals have gone out there to be of help to the communities according to their needs. And, we say kudos to everyone. And for some of you, they said if you can't go, your money can go for you. I promote charitable causes. So when Madam Tina will put her GoFundMe, please, I don't want somebody to say, oh, she's going to eat the money. She's a professional. She's well paid. As you can see, she's capable of looking after herself. So please When we put this thing, go fund me, whatever you can afford, £5. If you want to, some of us, we spend on things. When COVID happened, my life flashed in front of me. I looked at all my bags, all my shoes. There was nowhere to go. It's like, so please, if you, whatever you can afford, when we do these campaigns, please support us. Don't Let's not start saying, oh, the person is going to eat the money. She goes to impact lives in Africa. And if anybody, if you are here, if you have a ministry, if you have men, maybe you have your local men's club, whatever you want to do, if you would like Master Feka, I am sure you can reach him. He's on Facebook. If you want his personal details, just get through to me. I will deliver the message to him. I'm sure he will make himself available. I'm sure Madam Tina will be able to squeeze time, as long as she is well informed, to come and speak to your men. Please, it doesn't have to be a formal event. You can have a barbecue, whatever you have at home, and let the men be free to ask questions. So I'm putting this out there. I'm sure they will be more than happy to reach out to as many people. Please do share this video. So that many people can receive from this. It's on YouTube, Practical Talk with Floris Lyman, and it's also on Facebook. By the way, if you have enjoyed this program, please make sure you subscribe to this channel. I'm a person of faith, but I just believe God wants us to be whole. And we have to talk about some of these things. I will not have spoken about this. My mother died of ovarian cancer. It's not a show, it's not a fashion show. So we are not talking just because of talking, but it is deadly. And I hate to see people, unfortunately, people suffer from things. So I've had close relatives, husband, bowel. So I hope somebody's not saying, oh, they bewitched you. This is part of my journey that I had to go through. So maybe if I never experienced it, I will not be able to put myself in other people's shoes. So that is why we are here. Okay, Master Dave said conditions that trigger the onset.
Right. As
Yeah.
we said previously, the one thing I will give the risk factors. So he's put it that way, but he's asking about risk factors. Family history. So if you have a gene, if you have a direct uncle or father that's had prostate cancer, you're at risk. If you have sisters or aunts, or from the mother's side, they're having breast cancer. These are the sort of cancers. So wherever there's lots of breast cancer, the men need to get their prostate checked out. If you are just unlucky to get that. So you can exercise, you can eat the right kind of food. It doesn't stop you from having it. The only thing is that it prepares your body just in case you're unfortunate to be diagnosed with this disease, then you'll be able to fight it. Your body can fight the disease because you have a healthy body. And Madam Florence, you mentioned about funds, money. We always say there are times there's some kind of help that you cannot put monetary value to. We have
Like what we are offering here right
we
now.
have different people in different professions. So if you're a pharmacist, there's got tamsulosin, there are other medication that they can use, to help reduce PSA or any form of cancer or any other disease, basically, or even breast cancer with the hormonal stuff, whether it's tamoxifen or whatever it is. The pharmacy can donate it and will ensure that the intended beneficiaries, benefit, and these sort of whatever supplies are not sold because we got it for free. So we don't just say money, but services, whatever you can help with, whether even is diagnostic equipment, whatever you can support with. Because some people have stuff here, they know about stuff, but they're thinking, how am I going to ship them to Africa? Who is going to pay for them? We do try to raise funds. Any equipment that you have, that obviously they haven't just discarded completely because it's useless. As long as it's useful, we can find a way of shipping it to Sierra Leone and ensure that these intended beneficiaries or these underprivileged people benefit from all of this support. So money, yes, money talks. We need money. But whatever else you have that can support these people, please donate, make the contact, go through Madam Florence's website. She knows how to contact us. We'll make the linkages so that we can actually support our people out there, because they need our support. We know governments, they do try, but they cannot do it alone. These little things that we do, as Tesco says, every little helps.
Every little helps. That's my adage.
Helps, and you were talking about, I do love the London Transport Steel slogan: see it, say it, sort it. So if you feel like there's something there, say it and get it sorted out. I think that's my last one. See it, say it, sort it.
See it, say it, sort it. SSS. I need to type this in. Wow. 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 And sort it. Thank you so much, Lady Tina. In fact, I want to use this opportunity. Master Feka, thank you so much for waiting. We are coming to you, because we need your last saying in all of it. And thank you so much, viewers. We estimated that we will be here today for a bit longer. And thank you so much for waiting. I know it's Sunday evening, but thank you. I believe this is a life-saving chat for many. Early intervention is going to take place. I believe many have been provoked and challenged and encouraged to take action. Lady T, I just want to say thank you. You mentioned something that money cannot be put to, it can be equated to some of the things like what we've offered here today. As a result of your expertise, you didn't have to do it, but because of the compassion that comes alongside your job, Master Feka, you will have just kept your story to yourself. Say, God has healed me. I don't care about other people. Other people can just fight their battles for themselves. But you've put yourself out there. I really want to appreciate you. I pray that God will bless you. And I pray that the Lord will continue to use you, as a mouthpiece. We just don't know. We're just here. But you will be placed in other positions where you need to reach out to thousands and to millions of people. And I pray for those platforms for you guys. I will be there to support with the media and stuff. Well, Lady T, 2 years now that I done my book launch in Sierra Leone. I remember when I went to Sierra Leone, my shipment, you're talking about shipment, my shipment of stuff, everything went so late and I didn't know what was going to happen. And viewers, the shipment only arrived the day before I returned back to UK. Well, Madam T just made one phone call and I was sorted for the major things that I needed for that event. And it was such a beautiful and successful event in Sierra Leone. So I really want to use this opportunity to thank you. And I have a heart for humanity as well. So I'm ready whenever you have something going. I can use my platform and reach out so that we can support to be a blessing. We are not being biased here because we are from Sierra Leone. I'm sure if anybody else has something, please reach out to Madam T. We will help to whatever we can do in our own little way. We will help to do that. But thank you so much, Madam T, and for your help. That was so timely for my book launch.
Congratulations. Congratulations. So this is the second anniversary of your launch.
You have to remind me of that.
So congratulations again. 2 years. I'm sure the second book is on its way. Don't judge me. I'm a single parent.
So yes.
And I was the MC for that program. So
well done. Thank you so much.
The second one.
The second one, it's on its way, viewers. So that's my book. I've actually not publicized this for a long time. Don't judge me. I'm a single parent. I am proud to say, obviously, you've heard part of my story. We're talking about this cancer, all forms of cancer. I lost my husband through bowel cancer. And I don't know how I have still found myself here, still pushing and kicking, just in case if you're in that position that, you're going through this, just to let you know you're not on your own. You're not on your own. I just want to reassure you that you're not on your own. So my book is on Amazon, or you can also contact me. The details are all there if you would like a copy of this book. Again, in this book, I spoke about coping mechanisms. I've spoken about stigma, that people go through as single parents, the stigma in the community, the pressure in our communities and families, and how we can manage and support, not just judging people when we do not know their stories. So thank you so much. Well, we are coming back to our survivor. We thank God for your life, and I thank God for being part of the testimony, Master Faker. What's the last word you want to say to our viewers tonight?
Well, my last words, as I said earlier on, is checking, talking to your
Yeah, I
family
don't know if we
history
just.
is very, very important for you to do that. And last but not least, as well, the support which your family and friends give, they go a very, very long way. I am blessed with wonderful family. They're all, I would call them crazy. They all know I'm going to call them that. But they're we are so glued together, and they're so supportive. And of course, my friends, I could not change any of them for anybody whatsoever. They've been supportive all throughout my journey. Some of them are even more sick than I am, but they've been there thick and thin. They've lifted me up in every aspect. And of course, the church, yes, I did say that religion is part of a problem. That's people who are following the religion with ignorance. But the church as well is a major player, wherein my pastor will leave everything he's doing. He will go there, give prayers, and of course, Sister Pastor Flores, you are one of the prayer champions as well in my journey. So I know how much you guys put in there with my wife. There's different prayer channels happening all over the place, just for my sake. So all that part of the support, and also somebody did say earlier that there's other support apart from the consultants. Yes, there's a lot of support all over the place. And it's even got supports according to the boroughs that you live in. They've got supports as well from different charities as well that you can tap on. So from the hospital, they'll give you leaflets, contact those supports, get your friends, your family, because what is going through your head, especially during operation or before operation and after operations as well, because after the operation as well is a humongous task to cope with whatever they attach to you at that point, and that journey going through it is embarrassing, it's painful, because it's got to deal with your private parts and the like. So it's those supports, that mechanism around you that will help you cope, because sometimes you get to a point you get fed up because you didn't know this was what you're going to sign for. But trust me, down the line, I mean, you come out as a better person. I no more worry about that aspect of my life anyway, because I know I've passed that. And every opportunity now I get, as Flores has actually stated, I will come on shows. This is not my first one, this is not my second one. So I will do it because there might be somebody out there who's been scared all his life that will use this opportunity to go say, you know what, I've seen somebody who's gone through this. So what scenario? Let me at least go check. Even if it is, let me go through the process, and I'm available for that little bit of counseling, that little bit of support as a man to man, that we can talk and you can actually get a first-hand information. Certain things I will not say on air, I'll be able to say directly into your ears for you to have much more confidence in everything you do. So get all the support you need, talk to people about it, but most importantly, any difference in your body, go check it and tell your doctor as well, If you've got family history, let them be aware of it. Because as a Black and Asian community, we have a different type of metabolism or whatever that happens to us that most of these doctors are not aware of. So you just go check it and don't listen to what is headache that killed my family is the same headache that are going to kill you. No, it's not headache. It was something to do with a part of your system of which the symptom was just headache. So that's all I have to say. And thank you very much for getting me on your show. And I hope somebody is going to benefit from this and have themselves eased up in going through their own journey or going to get checked out.
Thank you so much. Wow. I can't thank you enough. I really, really do appreciate you for your time tonight. And I hope that you have a lovely and a blissful night. I want to appreciate your wife and your family members also for just for the support and your friends, and the church. You see, it's everything. Every section is intertwined, which is why we cannot be isolated. Everybody inputs in their own little way. So a big thank you to everybody who supported you. In their time of need, they will be supported too. Madam T, thank you so much for your time today. Um, you can't run away from us because we still need to talk about the other bits for women, especially in the area of childbearing. You know, that's one area that, as a church, that's one area that we deal with a lot, and it's something that we don't talk about, and we need to talk about it. So I thank God for grace, the grace to be bold. We will talk about this thing. But thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate you. I believe the viewers are saying thank you to all what you have said today, and I believe many people, viewers, please share this, and I believe many will go back and relax and watch this. You don't have to watch this in a rush because it's really extended, but we estimated that this will happen today, and I am glad that we have touched on, I believe, almost everything that has to do with this. So thank you very much. I pray for a great week ahead for all of us, that whatever it is, we will find answers and we will receive our healing. If we have to go through the process, we'll go through the process. Miracles do happen, but most of the time we have to go through the processes. So thank you so much, viewers. Thank you, Lady T. Again, for the benefit of viewers, I normally host this program every 2 Saturdays of the month. Every 2 Saturdays of the Sundays of the month. Last Sundays of the month. We are only doing this because we were unable to do it last week for various reasons. So if you have a story, if you have a passion, if you have something that you feel can inspire and encourage other people, please do feel free to contact me, florislimon@gmail.com, or you can contact me through Facebook or through Instagram, Practical Talk with Floris Limon. I'm on Facebook, Floris Limon, Practical Talk with Floris Limon. Please do feel free to contact me. Thank you once again for joining us, and have a blessed week. Remember to like and subscribe. I do all manners of things on this channel. As you can see, I bring you the word because I come from the Christian faith. So if you need the word, there is word. If you need encouragement, there is encouragement. But if we need knowledge, there is also knowledge. But the word of God say, my people perish because of lack of knowledge. So we are receiving knowledge so that when we encounter that situation, we can do something about it. Once again, thank you very much. God bless you and have a good night.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.